Welcome to this video. This is going to be the first in the series of me putting together my December daily album for 2022. If you missed my album setup and supplies, I do have that video already on my YouTube and I will link it up in the eye. In this video, I'm going to be putting together my title page or cover page and my reason why page. It is now November 27th and we're getting very close to December and I'm super excited to dive into this project. This year I'm working in this super small mini album. It's 4 inches by 5.5 from Jamaica Makes. And I love this tiny size to kind of keep it simple this year and really just focus on words, photos, and just, highlighting certain supplies and certain things without, going too overboard. That said, I'm not gonna go so simple. I mean, maybe some days, but I also do wanna get crafty and spend some time really making this album mine. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. Let me see. I do want to say my goal this year is to share process videos. I'm not going to share one per day, but my goal is to maybe lump a couple days together into process videos. Some days might not make sense if I'm doing, something so simple, but, or if I get really behind, but based on my schedule this December, I think that should be feasible. And I am using new studio lighting rather than natural light. So I should be able to share videos more regularly with you. So hopefully that is the plan and you will see videos from me during the month of December rather than my normal content, although I might still share some other stuff as well. I will focus on sharing December daily process videos with you. I will also have a video coming for my planner setup going into 2023. So do keep an eye out for that. Okay, now diving into this project. So I printed this family photo, it's just me and my daughter now, for my title page here. And so I'm just gonna do a cover page and I'm thinking, I was trying to decide what I could put on it. So I pulled out this star and I was hoping it would fit here, but I think it might fit better up here. And these numbers, both of these, the colors work really well. So I have this on the inside of my album. So just thinking this is gonna be right here. And I was thinking of putting 2022 on it with either these or these. They're both the same color. I also had these labels and I was kind of thinking I could stamp like December in this one, but then I also want the star and I feel like there's not gonna be enough space. I could put the star on top of here, but not with the word December in there. I could put this on top of the star, but I feel like then you're gonna miss most of the star shape. I'm gonna actually just kind of see what that looks like. Yeah, see, I feel like this is too big to go on top of the star. I like it under it, but then it doesn't really make sense to stamp December in it because you're just gonna be able to see like a couple of the letters. So that is an option to do this. I could just stamp like repeated stamping inside of it. I'm not sure. And then put the 2023. I do like the idea of putting the word December on here somehow. I did pull over some stamps before this video, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna grab my stamp binders here because I do want to look for another stamp that says December. If you're not sure what my stamp binders are, I do have a video about these and my whole stamp organization system, and I will link that up in the eye. So let's see, months. Months is over in my second album here. So these are in alphabetical order here. Love. So now I'm just looking for the month of December. So I do really like this one. That's kind of cool. And so I just stamped the word January on here when I have the entire set. The ones that only have like a different month, it's because I only have that 1 month in that stamp. This one is very similar, but I also like it. see if there's any down here that say December. So there's December looks like this. And then I have this large set, but that's too big. I want something smaller. So I think, and there's like this little tiny one, but I think I like this one. So I'm gonna go grab that stamp out of my stash. It's KP06, which means it's Kelly Perky. It's my 4x6 Kelly Perky stamp. So here's the December. So I could do like this on top here, and then the 2022 with these. So I kind of like that. I think I'm gonna need some vellum maybe to stamp that on. I have this scrap from that, or I could just get a plain vellum. So that I think is how, and that's probably all I'm gonna put on here. And then I'm gonna do a reason why page. So for my reason why page, I think I'm gonna do a 2-page spread. And I just pulled over some plain white cardstock. I'm just gonna do plain white cardstock. And I have this stamp set. And I think I'm just gonna repeat stamp like alpha, just words and phrases of all of my reason why and kind of like goals for December. And then along the side here, I kind of want to write December. And then I have this stamp. This is the reason why. Or I pulled over this one, which is an old story stamp that I found using my story binder that says my reason why here. Just kind of depending on which font I want. And then I was also thinking I could use maybe one of these as a decoration to bring a little bit of color in. Or I pulled over this paper. I was thinking I could cut out some of these stars as decoration as well. So I'm not entirely sure yet how I'm going to put this one together, but I'm going to start with the title page and then I will move into that one. I'm gonna put you on fast forward as I put these together. It's going to take a while, especially all that repeated stamping, so I will put you on super fast forward for that. But I hope that you enjoy it. I will probably do some voiceover, maybe some music, depending on how much I have to say. Okay, so I started with the title page, which was the much simpler of the 2 pages that I put together in this video. I started just by stamping out the word December from that stamp that I had chosen in the beginning on a piece of vellum. And I stamped it a couple times. One of the reasons why I love stamping on vellum and cutting it out is that you can stamp as many times as you want, and you don't have to worry about it not being perfect because you can just restamp and cut out another one. I stuck my label sticker down, and then I'm adhering this star from the add-on star collection from this year from Ali Edwards. I know I'm going to use a ton of those in my album. I just love them so much. So I added that as kind of my base, and then I'm trimming down the December word here. When it gets this small, it's hard to use the paper trimmer. You can see I kind of temporarily adhered it to my paper trimmer so that I could use it to trim it down, and it still wasn't perfect. And then I just adhered it down and I took it over to my sewing machine and added a bit of stitching. I love to always stitch on my layouts, especially in December daily. I have white thread in my sewing machine now, but at some point I will probably switch it to gold or something more festive. But for now, I really like the way that the white looked. The last thing I wanted to add on here was the year. So I pulled over these. They're kind of a different gold. It's not a super yellow gold that was with this year's collection from Ali Edwards. I think these were from this year's collection, and I put them on there, and then I put that to the side. So now I'm just trimming down my paper for the next page. It's going to be 2 full white pieces of cardstock, and I wanted to trim that down before I did anything to punch the holes so that I could punch through all 3 pages at once. And I'm using the existing page from my album that was my layout from Product Play as a template to punch the holes. And then I had the 3 on there from Product Play, but I have already realized what my day 3 story is going to be, and I'm not going to use that page for it. So I decided to take that 3 off, and I will use that foundation page for something else. So now I went through some of the papers in the kit, and I decided that I really like this star one, but I'm going to cut out these stars. For some reason, I'm really loving the star motif this year, so expect a lot of stars from me in my album. I'm just fussy cutting out this one red star, and I'm going to kind of use that as a base. So my thought for this page is I'm going to do my reason why, and I'm going to stamp out just a bunch of things about this season that I love, a bunch of things I want to focus on. It's sort of like not really a bucket list, but just kind of like a manifesto for the season. But along the side here, I want to write my reason why December. So I wanted to use this larger alpha stamp, which came from the Ali Edwards release this year for December Daily. And I just was laying them out to make sure that it would fit. And I'm going through my pattern papers because I wanted to back it with a pattern paper. I'd originally picked that blue plaid there that was from Felicity Jane, but I didn't like it with a red star. And I had considered cutting out a different blue star, but I really liked the red. So then I found some of these other papers also from Felicity Jane, and I was about to go with this red like gingham plaid, but I decided it was maybe a little too busy. So I went with this pink polka dot instead. I like that there's a pattern to it, but it's subtle enough that it's just going to kind of fade as a background and the letters will still pop on top of it. When you want something to pop on top of a pattern paper, you really want to try to find a pattern that's not super busy, because a busier pattern is going to hide whatever's on top of it. Then I'm using one of the vellum phrase strips from the main kit. I love these. They have like lyrics of December or Christmas songs on them. And I just used one as kind of a border here. I kind of like them just as a decorative element, even though there are words on it. I'm using it more as just like a edge. And I think I even cut off some of the words where it went off the edge of the page, and that's totally fine. I just like the decorative aspect to it. So now I'm stamping out the word December, and I decided I'm going to stamp it on vellum and cut out each letter. So I sped this up quite a bit for the cutting out here because that does take a little bit to fussy cut all of these out. But I'm just cutting out each letter, and then I'm going to adhere them down on here to say the word December, and then I will end up stitching them in place. I like that I cut all of these out separately because that gives me a lot more control over where I'm going to adhere them onto the page. It does take a lot more time, but if you're someone like me who's a little nervous with stamping, that especially on a page like this where you might mess something up, then it's really helpful to stamp it out on vellum and cut them out because it's much more low risk. As you saw, I stamped some of the letters multiple times before I got one that I actually liked. Then I took it over to my sewing machine and stitched it down. I did that both because I wanted the decorative element, but also because this page is going to be outside the page protector, and those were vellum just adhered with a little tiny bit of rolling adhesive, and they would probably fall off because it's not protected by a page protector if I didn't do something else to stitch them down. Now I found this stamp in my stash that says my reason why, and I considered stamping it on one of those labels to trim down to have that edge of gold, but I decided to just go with some white cardstock and just trim it down and put it there on the star. And then I pulled over these puffy embellishments. I think those were also in the main kit this year, and added one as just an extra something. And now I'm ready to move into the main part of this page, which is going to take a very long time. So I put you on 20 times speed here as I'm stamping out. So basically what I did was I came up with all these different reasons for the season, things I want to focus on, things I want to make sure to do, reasons why I love the holidays. And I'm just stamping them out. And while I did this took a couple of hours to do. It is very slow going to stamp out phrases like this. And I was just thinking of them as I went. And basically what I was doing was I was actually on a Zoom call with some friends, and we were just chatting about December Daily while I was working on this. So, if you're doing some sort of project like this and you're like, this is going to take a very long time, that is always a good time to do something else in the background. A lot of times I like to watch a movie or a TV show, and it's just a fun way to unwind. And if you reframe it like that to yourself in your mind, then it doesn't really feel like you're wasting all of this time or spending so much time on a project. It's more that you're spending time watching a movie, and this is something that you're doing with your hands. At least that's how I see it. So you can see here, I'm just plugging along, writing out these words, and it does end up taking me a really long time to do this. I did take a few breaks in here, and because, I'm on the Zoom call and I did speed it up so much, I didn't edit it as much as I normally do, but I did, it's sped up so much that you can't really see all the little breaks I'm taking. I'm just going at a leisurely pace and thinking about all the things that I wanted to say. So that's really all I have to say about this. So I'm going to put on some music until we get to the end. Okay, I wanted to pop back on here as I'm getting close to the end and talk about how I finished this page off. So as I was stamping out words, I was just coming up with things that came to mind that I wanted to focus on this season. But as I'm getting towards the end here, I knew that last spot needed to be about 7 or 8 letters. So I just came up with something that was the right length so it would end in the right spot. Stay warm wasn't, the most important thing for me to be on this list, but it was the right length. And that's how I got it to end in the right spot. It's not magic. It's just, tailoring my words to fit the page rather than the page to fit my words. The last step is just to adhere these back to back, and then I'm trimming it down a little so that you can't see the edge. And then all I'm going to do is slip this in my album. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and I'll see you for more soon.